Anywhere you go, you belong. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. Now, before we get into this, make sure you join me on my Telegram channel. I left a link to that in the live chat and also the description below. We'll be posting a lot of different trading setups throughout the week, and don't be missing out on that, so make sure you go check that out. But like I said, another live stream, talk you through what's happening in the charts today and see if you've got any opportunities coming up. So start off AUD/USD. So you can see with this this market here, we're currently testing a really key area of daily form of support, now acting as resistance. So like I've been saying on my weekly analysis videos, that we've been stuck in this kind of range here with multiple false breakouts here for AUD/USD on this daily chart. So you can see really nice area of resistance around 0.78, really nice support around 0.76500, false breakout there to the upside, big move to the upside, came crashing back down. Same with the daily, push to the downside, close back above, and went back in the other direction. But now it looks like we've actually had a breakout, because it looks like we're struggling to get back above of that resistance. And if we do hold that, I think we could see AUD fall to the downside, get above that and hold as support. I think we could be seeing continuation back to 0.78 and just see a continuation of the overall trend in the market. So I do think that price could go far in either direction. Just depends how it reacts with this level in the market, 0.76500. So if I jump to the 4 hourly, you can see price is losing momentum as it's coming into that area. So a lot of bearish and bullish candles coming in. So it just depends whether if price is going to go break through that level or hold. And it does look so far like we're getting a bit of a bold shape there. We haven't really got a lower high there yet though. As you can see, price is still pushing to the upside, creating higher highs, higher lows. You can see with this trend line here in the market, so push, pull back, push, pull back, and price has kept that on. So it just depends whether it can break through that same level or not. Again, we'll probably have to see a bit more development and price for us to know whether that's going to happen. But right now we've had another push to the downside, so break through the trend line could be a sign that will come in further to the downside, and we could be seeing that that reversal for AUD on the daily and on the 4 hourly. And if that's the case, we could see a bigger push to the downside to around about 0.74, which is previous weekly resistance. Now will be acting weekly support, so could see a bigger push to the downside. But right now, kind of just testing that area, and just depends whether the price wants to fall to the downside or hold that area and see another push back up to 0.78. Euro USD, this one here is still looking bearish. As you can see, we rolled over to the downside today, early this morning, and price is still looking bearish on the 4H hourly as well. We've just broken through this area of support here in the market. So again, this support will be now term resistance, and just depends if price wants to get back above it, gets back above it quite sharply. That could just be a false move. So we've just seen price consolidate a little bit, roll over to the downside, spike back up again. Nice indication of a false breakout, and then we could be expecting price to push in the opposite direction. However, price is still looking quite bearish now, and we could potentially roll back over to the downside for Euro USD. So need to watch out for that. And again, we also got this trend line here as well on the hourly chart, which could just roll over to the downside and see price continue in that direction. Hello guys, hope you all are right. If you have any trades or looking at any charts, just let me know. I will take a look at those charts for you, so just drop it in the live chat. But I hope everyone is well. But yeah, like I was saying, for USD, it does look like we could potentially roll over again to the downside, because again, we've just broken through that support level. It will now be at resistance, and we also got that trend line as well, which is going to provide extra resistance around that area. So could potentially see a pullback to retest that before continuation. However, get back above it. This could just be a false move from that consolidation, and we could actually see Euro USD take off a lot further to the upside, potentially a reversal to the upside for Euro USD. But for now, since we're still underneath that, could see further continuation to the downside for Euro USD, and potentially can go a lot further, because again, you can look at the daily time frame, very, very bearish here. We've just broken through a weekly barrier as well, which I was talking about in my weekly analysis video for this week. So actually could see a lot further continuation to the downside, but then just be careful, because it could be a false move first before the big move later, so you need to watch out for that. GPUSD for this one, again, we're testing a really nice area here on the 4 hourly time frame. So this is a level that I've been talking about for the past few weeks now. Again, you can see here on the 4 hourly time frame, really nice resistance, support, resistance. So market has been respecting this level numerous times, and now it does look like we could see price roll over to the downside again, since it is holding as resistance. So it just depends if price does roll over, because again, we've had a really strong reaction to the downside here for GPUSD. Had a nice push to the upside and then crash right back down. See, probably better on hourly. So you can see big push to the upside, test that level, fell right back down now, and now we're getting a bit of consolidation. So do think we're back in this kind of sort of area that can be classified as a bit of a false breakout to test that resistance, crash back down, breaks through this support. I think there's a good chance of price coming back all the way down to these lows, and seeing price actually probably create another low there, because at that point we'll probably have a bit of a bearish trend there in the market on the daily. So we could see a bit of a bigger push to the downside for GBUSD if you do take out the support. However, now it's a bit choppy for GBUSD since we are stuck between this kind of area of consolidation. Breaks to the upside again, probably going to see a retest of that resistance. Breaks to the downside for GBUSD. If it does hold as resistance, I do see price coming back all the way down to the lows and potentially further for this pair, because again we're testing that area again. And since we've had a break of a trend line on the daily, so if I just highlight that area, we have had a break of that trend line there on the daily. So it could be a sign that we are on our way down for GBUSD. Again, market's been very bullish for the past few months, so it is due to see a bit of a breather before it wants to continue on this journey, and we could be in that breather stage. Again, you can see the past few days has been trending to the downside, push down, retrace, pull back, but consolidation and breaks to the downside again. So price is looking bearish here on the higher time frames of the daily, just breaking through that trend line there. Could see a continuation, but again, probably need to see a break of that support to have that extra confirmation, because right now price is moving a little bit choppy. Well, I currently use IC markets. I do recommend that. I do have links in my description to some brokers that you might want to check out, like XM, of course, IC market. So probably do a bit more research on those brokers, see which one's best for you. But I currently use IC markets, and I do recommend them. USD CAD. So for this one, again, very low momentum here. You can see the past couple of days, you can see in the 4-hourly time frame, we've been trying to push and break through this 1.26 barrier. Price has been struggling numerous times here. Does look like it could roll over to the downside. You can see the way we closed on the 4-hourly time frame with that that shooting star. As you can see, really nice wick to the upside, failing to push higher, came down and closed bearish. So could see a push to the downside. I don't know if we've taken out this trend line here yet in the market. It looks like we might have just taken out that trend line. So you can see here on the hourly, price getting squeezed between that resistance up there, 1.26200 sort of, and this trend line here in the market with first, second, third, fourth, and kind of just broken on our fifth test there for USD CAD. So if we do hold underneath it, again, it's not the strongest close in the world. It's not the best breakout. Probably want to see price give it a few more pips for the breakout, because it could easily just close back above. But if you do see price take out this trend line, I do think we have a good chance of rolling over to the downside for USD CAD, holding that resistance there and seeing price come back to this area here in the market. Really key area of support, as you can see, took off to the upside, again broke above, retest their support, took off to the upside again. So I do think if we do take out this trend line, we'll probably see price roll back over to around this area and give us a bit of a range between around 1.24600, this support, and 1.26 200, give or take, for USD CAD. So could have a really nice push to the downside of around 100 pips to the downside for USD CAD. I think we could see that push, but we do need to see maybe a little bit of a stronger break of that trend line, give us the extra confirmation, and then if you do see some pullbacks, could look to enter on them for USD CAD. But yeah, it does look like price is struggling to take up this level here. You can see it does have a lot of weight behind it. This 1.26200, if I just go across, you can see support, Tesla resistance, fell to the downside, and again held that consolidation there. So I do think it does look like price is holding a nice confirmed break of that trend line, could take us all the way down to this level here. So if you do see some pullbacks, once we've had probably a stronger breakout, some pullbacks on low time frames, maybe even 30-minute, could look to ride that all the way down there, and again about 100 pips move to the downside. Does look quite likely if we break that trend line for USD CAD, so eyes on that pair. USD this one's still looking very bullish here. As you can see, we've taken out this consolidation area that we had in the market, so price was ranging between these two levels, and it looks like price is really taking off. Actually gone past our weekly trend line as well. As you can see, if I just zoom out, this is the weekly time frame, so resistance all across here on that trend line. We did get a strong close above last week. Again, I wasn't too sure if we're going to have a breakout just yet, because again, it's only just one candle above, and this trend line has held intact for numerous since I think since 2016. So We have had a close above, and looks like this week is continuing. Although we are only at Tuesday, we could see the rest of the week pull down and close bearish. It does look like the price might be breaking to the upside and could be on its way to around this level here in the market, our recent kind of major swing high there. So could see USD JPY take off to around 111.190 or potentially even further. But normally when you do see a trend line break, you normally expect price to go to that recent swing high of the market. And if you see here on the weekly chart, our recent swing high was this level here. So that is naturally where you do expect USD JPY to go if we are actually having a breakout of this trend line, which it does look like we are having. We haven't had a reason to say we're not having a breakout. You can see there on the daily looking very, very bullish. So yeah, could be seeing price continue to the upside there to 1111 for USD JPY. And again, could see some nice pullbacks on the way. Be nice if price was to come back and hold this area as support. Didn't quite see that pullback there, a bit of consolidation, but price is still taking off to the upside. So I do think USD JPY could continue to the upside for the long term. Right now, price does look very bullish. Don't worry on a buy that. Could see a pullback any second now, but overall price is still looking very bullish and looks like it is heading off to the upside. NZD USD. This one, it looks like it's having a slight pullback in the market. You can see last week we had this big move to the downside, crashing down, taking out all of these major support and resistance levels here. So key support kind of held this consolidation in the market, and we've just violated that very strongly last week. And it does look like price will roll over to the downside, expecting a bit of retrace, and could see the continuation to the downside. It'd be nice if price was to come back up, retest that as resistance, and then fall over. But I'm not sure if we will get that move because price does look like it's having a hard time pushing up. You can see the price action here for NZD USD is very, very choppy. So it does look like a pullback in preparation for another downside move. But again, it would be nice to come back and retest that as resistance. I'll take a look at GPUSD. Yeah, so GPUSD, I do favor a move to the downside because again, looking from the daily chart, we've had a strong break of this trend line here in the market, and we do have the bearish daily structure as well. You can see price making lower low, lower high, lower low. So now you do expect the market to roll over. We're testing a really key area here on the 4H where we have tested. So if I just scroll across, you can see resistance here in the market. So resistance, support, resistance held numerous times. Had a really strong breakout from that same level, and we come just wicked into it, and we fell to the downside. I was saying earlier that price for me is in a little bit of a indecisive area because again, we had a bit of a consolidation prior to this big spike up yesterday, and we came crashing back down back into that same area. So I've kind of just drawn a box around that whole price action there, and just treating that as a false breakout, a false move to the upside, and coming right back down. So I do think GPUSD can break to the downside, but we do need to see a break of that support for that extra confirmation, because at this moment in time, this support could send us back up again. And if we do take out this resistance here, the likelihood price is going to come back up and retest that resistance at around 1.38 So it's a bit of an indecisive area for GPUSD. I'm not seeing it very clear. Again, I am favoring a move to the downside because of what the daily is telling me. We've got the broken trend line, lower highs, lower lows, and does look like we're just retesting previous structure to roll over. But again, I wouldn't take that too much as gospel because of the 1 hourly time frame. Does look a little bit indecisive, so not too sure about that one. But if we do see a break of that support around 1.37500, the probability is quite high for us to fall to the downside back to these lows and continue further. So kind of just depends where you've entered, where you've put your stop loss really, because again, this whole area is quite indecisive. Could see a push higher first before coming back down. But for me, a break of that support could be a really nice indication that GPUSD is coming back down, and then here is a bit too indecisive for me, in my opinion. And we could actually see a breakout in the opposite direction, because again, price could go anywhere. We don't really know. We just speculate on the direction, and don't really like the 4 hourly close either. But yeah, bias it to the downside until we break out this consolidation box to the upside. Then I'll probably reevaluate GPUSD from then. But again, not really looking to put any entries whilst price is in this area. But again, could break to the downside. We just have to wait and see if that's what GPUSD wants to do. GPJPY does move similar to GPUSD, so take a look at that one. This one here is looking very bullish here for GPJPY. It does look like price could be on its way back to highs, which doesn't look like a great sign for GPUSD since they do move similar. But again, two different pairs, they could do different moves. But right now you can see GPUSD does look like it wants to get back to highs. And I do think if we do continue with this structure here, we'll probably are like probably are quite likely to take out these wicks here and see some new highs, because you can see if I just zoom out a little bit, price had a big push to the upside, new low, big push to the upside, new low, and after that new low you do expect to see a new high. So just zoom it out a little bit, looking at the overall structure of price, does look like price wants to have another push to the upside and create some higher highs. So I'm favouring GPJPY to continue to the upside, might see another pullback again, but the best place of entry for, in my opinion, was this area here around 150-700. Again, clear support in the market, resistance fell to the downside, support gave us a really nice move back up again. And you can see last time this level was acting as support, we held it over here and we saw a move into this area. So there's a good chance holding this support again could give us that same move back into that resistance where we held the wicks. And because price is overly in a bullish trend in the higher time frames, we could get that extra kick needed to create some new highs and see price wick to around 153 potentially, kind of which is the next target. And if we go in the monthly as well, you can see price does look like it's on its way to take those highs out again, very long term. But I do think GPJPY does have the potential of taking out those highs there on the monthly. So bias is to the upside for GPJPY. However, if we get back below this level here, I probably will change my bias. But right now, expecting to see GPJPY continue to the upside. Might see another pullback, because you can see the kind of structure of the candlesticks here. We have a push, pullback, push, pullback, another push. You do expect to see a pullback, but I do think we can continue to the upside for GPJPY. Next, going to take a look at EURGBP. So EURGBP, I'm currently in a short trade, looking for a move to the downside, seeing if we can get a move to around 0.84600. So you can get a nice push there. You can see recently we had a strong break of this support yesterday and looking to capitalize on the retest. So you can see support there, big push to the upside, so a lot of momentum behind it. A lot of consolidation here, price just building up. False break to the upside, taking that as another lower high. Big push to the downside yesterday, back below this support. Came back up quite aggressively, but still treating that as a retrace there. Holding at that resistance, look to enter on the hourly and see if we can get another continuation to the downside. So looking for another continuation to the downside for EURGBP to around 0.85460. So another continuation back down. If I go to the daily, if I just zoom out, you can see my overtake profit is around there. So again, it kind of lines up with this area here in the market. But yeah, so looking for a move to the downside for EURGBP, and yeah, going to see how that gets on. But that's one of my trades that I've got currently running, and gold as well. I had a short trade from that since last week actually, but price has been moving very sideways, as you can see there on the daily. So was in this trade for a few days before eventually we did see a move to the downside yesterday for gold. But as you can see, price is looking quite bearish here for gold. Looks like we are taking out this support, but again, would like to see a close below it. Again, the candle is still open, that could still pull back up before the candle closes, so I won't say it's broken it yet, but it does look like we could see a break of that support. And if we do, I do think it's going to be a high chance that we could see price come all the way back to the lows, which is where my overall target is for gold. So looking for a continuation to the downside for gold. We were holding this resistance quite well last week, so that's mainly why I got into the trade. As you can see, Really nice area of resistance, rejected it, came all the way to the lows. Nice resistance, gave us a new higher low there, consolidating at this resistance a lot of the time. Broke to the upside, treating it as a false breakout, came right back underneath. Another false move, came right back underneath, tested again, tested twice, got in, and then we had a further consolidation for the rest of the week. And then Monday we finally had that continuation to the downside. So looking for gold to continue further back to around 1680. Maybe it might hold for new lows, but don't want to get too greedy with this trade, and just see if you can get it back to the lows there. But right now it is running quite nicely, and see if you can hold it down to the lows for gold there. Next, going to take a look at Euro JPY. So Euro JPY here is still looking quite bullish. We did hold this area of support here in the market. Again, very, very strong area of support. So just zoom out, you can see resistance there. Nice bearish reaction, support there, really nice bullish reaction. So it does hold a lot of weight behind it. And I do think we can see price just fill in the range again for Euro JPY. So you can see last time we held the support, push up, consolidation, push into this area around 130. False break to the upside, came back down, retested, fell back down to 128,300, held that area, and now I do expect to see the market go through that range and push back in to that 130 zone. Hey, you're right. If you have any trades, just let me know. We'll take a look at them. Again, if you want me to look at any charts as well, just put it in the live chat. But yeah, I hope you all are well, and thank you for joining me. But yeah, for Euro JPY, I do expect to see further continuation to the upside, back to that 130 level, which is around here. Really nice resistance, broke for treating as a false breakout. As you can see, a bit of a double top, once, twice, fell to the downside. Retest that as resistance, and I do think we're just going to fill that range in for Euro JPY. So expecting to see further continuation back up again, and see if you can get a test of that level. But Euro JPY is looking very bearish. You can see nice strong close there in the 4 hourly time frame. Drop to the hourly, see, yeah, exactly, further continuation to the upside. Might see a bit of a pullback. I believe we do have a bit of a trend line now in the market, so good to see a retest of that. But yeah, expecting to see further continuation as long as we stay above that trend line there for Euro JPY. Next, we're going to take a look at GPAUD. So GPAUD, this pair has been moving very, very choppy the past kind of month or so, or maybe even 2 months. You can see that on the weekly, prices just been moving sideways very, very horribly, not really trending anywhere. It is slightly trending to the upside because if you look at the overall structure, you do see higher highs and the higher lows. But overall, the price is still very, very choppy here. We do have a key level of 1.8 running through the market here. So we'll take note of that and see how price reacts with that level there. So this is the 1.8 level. As you can see, resistance, resistance, resistance again. False breakout, retested, nice strong move. So price is now holding that area as support, which is quite interesting because it could mean that we could be seeing a breakout of a bit more of momentum and finally kind of relieve ourselves from all this accumulation. And then we could see a continuation to the upside for GPAUD. And I think the next stop could be 1.82 for GPAUD. So if I just zoom out, I should go to the daily. You can see the last time price held 1.8 as support. You can see we had this range here in the market, and the highs of that was around 1.82. So that's why I do think GPAUD could go if we do hold this 1.8 support from a daily point of view, because as you can see last time we were holding this 1.8 had a really nice range of 1.8 to 1.2. So I think we could go and fill that range up quite nicely if you were to hold that support there for GPAUD. And yeah, as you can see on the 4 hourly time frame, had a few wicks underneath. Price was trying to break through that area, failing to do so. Had a really nice close there, a slightly engulfing candle there on the 4H. As you can see, nice engulfing candle. I do think we can see that continuation up to 1.82 if we do hold that support there. But again, price is very choppy, so it might do one move to the downside first before having that push up. So again, that's why it is a little bit unclear to trade because of the price action there. But we do have that clear level running through the market, and we could use that as a bit of a marker, a bit of a gauge of where we could potentially expect a GPAUD to go. Get back below that level, however, I think we just see another push to the downside maybe back to this recent low here. I think we do have a bit of a range here in the market, well did anyway, around this area here in the market. So if I just highlight this area so you can see support, could treat that as a false breakout as well, support there. So maybe if we were to get back below 1.8, could see that push all the way back down to 1.78. Nice area of support, kind of giving us a range. But if you do hold that 1.8 there as support, I think we will see a breakout to the upside for GPAD, but right now it's a little bit unclear, so not too keen to get involved in that. But again, could use that as a bit of a marker, and then see how price reacts a little bit more fit, and then could look to enter either buys to 1.82, or if you get back below this area, I could see a nice drop back down to 1.78. So 2 targets there for GPAD, depending how we react to that level, whether we break through it or hold. Next, going to take a look at USD-CHF. So USD-CHF, again for this one, we are taking off to the upside. Similar to USD-JPY, which we looked earlier, we broke out that consolidation and price is taking off to the upside. So as you can see here, had a bit of a consolidation here in the market. Price had that bit of a bowl shape, as you can see, lower low, lower low, lower low. Then we failed to make a lower low, and actually made a lower high. So then we expect to see a breakout to the upside. And as you can see, price took off, created some new highs, and it's still looking very bullish right now. So USD-JPY, if I go to the daily, I should go to the weekly, actually you can see price is really taking off. It's taken past this resistance here in the market. It actually held it as support. You can see for those wicks there, indecision. Price was retracing itself, and now as you can see, it's still looking very bullish. So price could go a lot further actually, because if I actually go to the monthly, you can see we had this big dip to the downside, so we could be looking to retrace that back up to around this area here on the monthly, where we had all of this consolidation. Because as you can see, a lot of bearish momentum came to the downside from that area, so price could want to tap into that level and then see some retracement from a monthly perspective. So that's what I could expect to see from USD-CHF. So could see that further continuation to the upside. But right now on the daily, you can see price is looking very, very bullish here, given no reason for us to sell it right now. As you can see, strong close there on the 10 a.m. candle, and price looks like it's on its way to some new highs as well. So not too keen to short or buy that right now. I want a bit more development, see a bit if I can find some more zones to buy or sell from. But right now, price is just looking very, very bullish here, even on the hourly. So again, big push to the upside, impulsive move. Likely to see a bit of retrace after that move, but nonetheless, from the higher time frames, it looks like we could see further continuation up. So not too interested to sell that just right now, and doesn't have given us a really nice opportunity to buy it either. So just going to let USD-CHF do its thing, but we'll keep an eye on it, because we could see maybe a potential pullback to this area, which could open up to a nice continuation to the upside. Since when we broke out of that, we didn't get a retest. As you can see, we broke to the upside, out of that consolidation, lost a bit of momentum, then continued in that direction. So if we were to get retest, could open to some nice buying opportunities, but right now not really interested. Next, we'll take a look at GBCAD. So GBCAD for this pair, for this one, that gave a bit of a range for GBCAD on my week analysis. I did say it does look like we're stuck between this area here in the market of resistance and this area here of support. And I would just go to the daily time frame and just drag this across. You can see really nice area of support there, a really nice area of resistance here. So I do believe it looks like GBCAD's going to be stuck between this range for a bit of time here before we do see a breakout. It looks like we're going to see another leg to the downside back into that same support. Again, if I just drop to the hourly time frame, you can see how that pushed to the upside, crashed back down, very impulsive move. Looks like prices have a bit of consolidation before we see another break to the downside, just to complete that range of the market there. So GBCAD looks like it is fluctuating up and down. I do think we'll probably see another break to the downside there. Remember guys, if you're looking at any different charts or you want my opinion on a different market, just drop it down in the live chat and I'll give you some analysis on those pairs, or if you're looking to trade any pairs as well this morning. Next, we'll take a look at Euro AUD. So Euro AUD, this one, I thought we could see some continuation to the upside here after we did take out this trend line here in the market. So I thought we could see price come back up to those highs there, As you can see, we failed to do so, and I actually think that we could see price eventually roll back over and create some new lows here because of the structure of the market. As you can see, we had this big push to the downside, pull back, another big push, failed to take out this recent, that previous major swing high there in the market. I've actually rolled back over quite nicely. So for Euro UD, I think we could see a bit of retracement, maybe to test this key level here in the market. So I just highlight this zone so you can see support, resistance, resistance, maybe a pullback into this area, and I think another leg to the downside here for Euro UD. This was kind of like the key structural level that I want to see price take out for me to say, yeah, Euro UD is on its way back up, and we could be seeing a reversal for the higher time frames like the daily here. You see it's been on a downtrend for quite some time, but this was kind of the key level that I wanted the price to take out, because that was like a previous lower high there in the market. So got that lower high there, got that lower high there in the market, and then we create a nice low there, create a nice low there, and then if we took out this level, we were breaking that structure, and then we expect to see the market trend to the upside. However, we didn't. Looks like we formed another lower high, and from then you do expect to see the market come back down to at least test that previous low, or potentially give us a new low. So anticipating a bit of a pullback again to roughly around this zone here. Really nice area of support resistance. So support there, held that consolidation, nice resistance, big strong reactions to the downside. So a bit of a pullback since the market is a bit overextended, looking a bit tired. Might see a pullback to the upside and then expecting price to roll back down to the downside. I use IC markets. Again, I do have a link to that broker in the description. That's what I've been using for some time now. I do recommend, so you could take a look at that and see what you think. But yeah, I do use IC markets. For Euro UD, I do expect to see continuation to the downside here. Bit of a pullback because again, markets look a bit tired, and then see the continuation to the downside here, back to the lows. And again, potentially even create a lower low, because again, if you look at the daily time frame, structure is very much to the downside. So expecting to see a continuation from that perspective there. And again, Euro NZD, very similar to Euro UD. Structure is a little bit different though. As you can see for this one, we did take out structure here on the daily chart. So again, we had this trend line quite nice in the market, violated that, and the big push to the upside. But we have reacted quite strongly from this 1.7 area, which was the target when I did say we get a break of that trend line. A push to 1.7 was the target. As you can see, really nice area of daily support, resistance, and now tested it again. So I think UNZD is on its way back down to come and test this level here. Well, this kind of area of consolidation. So we didn't really get a retest when we broke to the upside. You can see big candle closing above, and then we just took off to 1.7. So now that we test the 1.7 and we're rolling back down, I do think we'll come and test this consolidation area here again. Might see a bit of reaction since we did see price kind of take off to the upside when it left it, so could expect to see a bit of a similar reaction. But again, the structure here is looking fairly bullish here. If we take out this level here and get back underneath it, then we're back in that same zone of consolidation, of indecision, and then probably re-evaluate Euro NZD from there, because get back below this area could see that consolidation happen again and potentially break to the downside, and just see the overall bearish trend here on the monthly just continue. But for now, I'm seeing price come back, retest that support, might see a push up, get below, probably see price go and fill that range and give us another move to the downside for Euro NZD. But overall, it looks like we're going to see a pullback, and then potentially a continuation if we do hold that same area. Next, and take a look at ADJPY. So ADJPY last week looking very bearish here. As you can see, kind of just melted to the downside. And then we held this area here as consolidation, and then we broke to the upside. So price is looking quite bullish right now. We are coming back to an area where price had a strong reaction before, a lot of momentum from this area. As you can see, really nice support zone, active resistance, took off to the downside. So expect to see a bit of a bearish reaction from that level. But you can see the market here is moving a little bit unclear there on the daily and the 4H. So we had a very strong reaction to the downside. Bit of a false breakout outside that level, as you can see. So there's our resistance, took out that level, big strong move up, big strong move back down. Again, textbook false breakout there. When you want to see a false breakout, you want to see a big change momentum to the upside, and then price comes straight back down that level. And as you can see, that's exactly what happened. Big push up, came right back down, and then we fell to the downside from that false breakout. But as you can see, price is kind of pushing back up again. So it's like we're having a repeat of the previous price action that we've had here, back here again. So you can see very strong move to the downside, very strong move to the downside, price slowly crawling back up, back to highs, price slowly crawling back up, back to highs. So it's looking like we're having a bit of a repeat of that previous price action again, and we could see price maybe push back to the upside overall. Again, we might see a bit of a move to the downside from this level though, because of the weight it has behind. You can see a lot of bearish momentum, so could see a bit of a bearish reaction, a bit of a pullback, maybe back down to this support potentially, and then see the continuation back up and just following that previous price action that happened there again, and see price probably go and take out these highs up here, which is our new swing high there in the market. So that's again a bit of long term, because I do believe we'll probably see a bit of a bearish reaction first, and then a continuation back to highs for 80 JPY. But get above this level and hold. I do think we have a nice clean run back to highs. However, hold this as resistance, and again, we're not too sure if we're going to hold that resistance or break through it yet. As you can see in the hourly, haven't really had much price action around that area, so not too clear yet. But do hold that as resistance. I see us falling down to around this area here, maybe spike below it a few times, and then the continuation back up, just following that previous price action there. Because again, you can see the similarities of it. Big push to downside, crawl back up, big push to downside, crawl back up, and at that point we'll probably just have a bit of an ascending channel in the market. So again, if I just connect these 2 points up here, so could see price going test that trend line for a third time, and then we've got our lower trend line here in the market. So a bit of an ascending channel, could see price going complete that price action there to the upside. So that's what I'm favoring for ADJPY. But now, because we are testing that area, it does have a lot of weight behind it, a lot of resistance, I do see price falling to the downside at least one time there, back to this level. However, could be wrong, we could take out and close above it. In that case, I do see the continuation back up to these highs here, and again potentially that trend line connecting those two previous points there in the market. So currently in that short trade for gold, looking for that move to the downside back down to 1680, so you can get price potentially maybe take out those lows here. Again, I don't want to be too ambitious, but again, you can see that overall sentiment for price is very much to the downside. Price is making lower lows and lower highs down the daily, so we could potentially easily see another continuation to the downside, just following the overall direction of the market. And you can see on the 4 hourly time frame, price is still looking quite bearish there, and it looks like we could be taking out that support, but still want to see a close below it first before I classify that as a breakout of that support. And again, looking for continuation to the downside for Euro GBP, currently in a short position there, holding this as resistance. So previous support, big push to the upside, bit of consolidation, another push to the upside, creating another lower high, there in the market, crash back down below, retesting that resistance, retesting that, look for that entry and looking to capitalize on a move back down to around 0.85600. So looking for that move to the downside, stop loss is just above that zone there. So if you were to break back above, it will be holding as support, and at that point I don't want to be in the trade anymore, because again, the setup is now invalid, and we could actually see price push again to the upside, maybe just to create another lower high. As you can see, you've got this trend line here in the market, so it could potentially just push up to create another low high, test that trend line before breaking back down. But again, if that's the case, just look to re-enter a different area. But for now, expecting to see this area of the market hold as resistance, and then looking for the continuation to the downside for Euro GBP back down to around 0.85600. So we can see how that trade plays out, and also see how that gold plays out, which at the moment is looking quite good, and could see that continuation to the downside. I have taken profit as well at this support, because there was a good chance that price could get a bit of a bullish reaction and reverse and go against me. But right now it does look like we're taking that level and see if we can get to that support down there. So yeah, just going to see how these trades get on. If anyone else has any trades and they want to share, feel free. I'll take a look at that, see how they're going. And also if you want some analysis on any pairs that you're looking at right now, just drop it in the live chat and I will give you guys some analysis on those pairs. But yeah, just going to see how these two trades get on. Shorts on gold and shorts on Euro GBP. Okay, so let's take a look at GJ and AU. So GPUSD, like I was saying earlier, for this one, I do expect to see it push to the downside because of that daily structure. You see, you've broken that trend line, retesting that resistance, and it looks like we've had a nice spike into this area of resistance there on the hourly. Overall, we're still in a quite indecisive area. As you can see, I've drawn this consolidation area around the price action here. We had a big push, spike back down, bit of consolidation. If we take up this support here on GPUSD, I do see a nice drop back down to these lows here, and probably even a lower low at that point as well, because we'll get that swing on the daily. But for GPUSD, it's a bit undecisive. Break that resistance, back to those highs up there, back into that resistance, break that support, clear path to the downside. So GPUSD, we've got upside targets and downside targets. I'm favouring the move to the downside, but we still need to take out that support for that confirmation, because it could be a scenario where we bounce on that support and just hold that consolidation and then maybe break out to the upside, and in that case we're going back to that resistance up there. So could be waiting for the break and the retest of that consolidation area to capitalize on the move to the downside. But right now it's a little bit too indecisive for me, but I do think GPUSD could be on a move to the downside. Break to the upside, I'll change that bias and look for a continuation back into that resistance there on the hourly time frame. And you can see on the 4 hourly, we retested that resistance there, had a really nice spike to the downside, so could roll over there, but a break of that support could help us along the way to the downside. GPJPY for this one, again looking very bullish, so it's a little bit opposite to GPUSD, even though they do move very similar. For this one, I'm actually favouring a move to the upside here. Again, we've got back above this key level of support, so you can see support, resistance, fell to the downside, back above, retested that, and it looks like we could be seeing a nice move back into the highs up here for GPJPY, which is what I'm favouring. Might see a bit of a retrace. You can see the structure of the price here, push, retrace, push, retrace, push. Might see another retrace, but I do think GPJPY is back to highs and potentially even a higher high, because again, look at the higher time frame is very, very bullish here, so we can easily see another spike above those recent highs and see price push on maybe to 153 potentially. But overall, GPJPY is looking bullish here, and I am expecting price to continue us to the upside. You can see the structure on the hourly time frame is still very bullish there as well, and we do have a little bit of a trend line keeping us pushing to the upside. So as long as price stays above that trend line, I do see price pushing to the highs and potentially even taking out the highs. AUSD, we have this key level here, this key kind of range here on the daily, 0.78 resistance, 0.76500 support. Couple false breakouts, like I've been saying earlier, false breakout. Looks like we're having the actual breakout now. We've broken through this bearish, this ascending trend line, broken through it last week, retesting that area as resistance. Hold this area, I do see us rolling to the downside, back down to 0.74, previous weekly resistance, now 10 weekly support. We didn't get a retest, so that's where I expect price to go if we do hold this and roll over. Break above it, I see just us completing the range back to 0.78. You can see the price action on the Farley, we're running out of steam there, kind of get a bit of a curve there. So if that curve maintains, I do see us rolling over to the downside and another swing there. As you can see, a very impulsive move. This could just be retracement here, pullback, and then the continuation. Hourly, I'm not sure if we've broken through the trend line here. So it looks like we are breaking through it again. It's not really a confirmed breakout there. Did get a strong close a few candles ago, then a kind of weaker close now. So not taking too much of that as gospel as we're closing below, but I do think breaking below that trend line could give us a sign that we're pushing to the downside a lot further and seeing price coming back to those lows here. And at that point, we'll probably see some nice rejection on the daily. So I do expect those lows to be broken and see us continue back down a lot further for AUSD. But bias is to the downside for AUSD if we reject this area, which it does look like we're doing. However, if we do maintain this trend line and see price start making high highs again, then it does look like we could break through that, hold that daily level, and from there complete the range to the upside. So it's all about reacting, again, not too much predicting, but again, we do have those scenarios where we could look for buys or sells. Again, key level here, depending on holds or if it breaks. If it does hold, biases to the downside for AU. GPUSD biases to the downside, but again, a clear break of that support on the hourly could really help us on that move to the downside. Taking out that resistance probably takes us back to that area there in the market. And GBJPY looks like it is pushing to the upside here. As you can see, key level there on the support holding. Looks like we're going to have that resumption to the upside. You can see the structure on the hourly so is very bullish. And I do think we're coming back to highs and potentially even see a higher high, because again, the higher time frames are still very much to the upside. So hope that now has helped on those 3 time frames, on those 3 charts. Again, anyone else wants me to take a look at any different charts, just put it down in the live chat and I'll make sure I will take a look at it. But I am seeing further continuation to the upside for GBJPY. I do think we can see push to those highs. Might see a bit retrace first, but yeah, I do see GBJPY continuing to those highs there. So I hope that analysis helped. Okay, so we're going to take a look at USD CAD. Okay, so for USD CAD right now, it looks like we're trading at a very key level here on the daily time frame. So let's jump to the daily. You can see support all across here, held a consolidation, broke to the downside, is testing as resistance. So it just depends whether the price wants to get above or below this level. If it does hold, I see a swing back down, gets above, we could be seeing potentially a reversal or at least a counter trend move to the upside for USD CAD. If I dig a little deeper on the hourly, it looks like price is still kind of pushing to the upside. Kind of got this trend line here in the market. So again, numerous tests, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it does look like price is having a strong reaction off that trend line. So price is still technically making higher highs, higher lows. You can see there's a higher high, higher high, higher high. Failed to make a higher high though, but is still maintaining higher lows, which is the important thing. So I think we'll get another push back into that level. Again, not too sure if it's going to break or not. It's a very key level on the daily time frame. We need to wait to see the end of the daily candles close to see whether we can break through that level or not. But right now, price is holding that trend line, and I do see another push to the upside for USD CAD maintaining those higher lows. I think we do have a little bit of a miniature trend line here. So if I connect the last three previous swings in the market, as you can see, miniature downtrend here. We got a low there, well, a high there, lower high, lower high. I think take out this trend line, see another swing, probably create some new highs and really go and test that resistance up there. But I do favor a push to the upside now for USD CAD. That trend line will act as a bit of resistance there. Might cause a bit of a struggle, might see a bit of retracement, but I do think USD CAD is on for another swing to the upside as long as it stays above that trend line. Stays above, however, breaks below that trend line, could be seeing that reversal, that daily level holding and seeing that swing back down again all the way to the lows there. But for now, USD CAD looks like it's holding that trend line and could actually see it swing to the upside, but still need to break through that trend line, well, the descending trend line first before we do get that swing. But it does look like it's holding and we could see another swing to the upside. So yeah, I hope that analysis helped. Okay, so it's just gone 12 p.m. to end the live stream shortly. Going to do a quick rundown as usual of some of the pairs that we looked at earlier, see how they're getting on, and also my current trades as well. So start with AUD/USD. So for this one, I've just looked to put some short trades on this one, looking for a move to the downside here. So looking very bearish here, as you can see, broken through that trend line, looking for that continuation to the downside, like I was saying earlier, and looking for that continuation. Stop loss just above there, so you can get a move into these lows down there for AUD/USD, and actually potentially even a lower low. Like I said on the daily, looks like we're gonna retest that daily previous support, now hold as resistance and see that continuation to the downside. So looking for AU to drop to the downside there and see if we can test the previous lows, and then probably hold for some new lows as well. EUR/USD, this one's already fallen to the downside. Like I said, when we started the live stream, we already broke through this support there in the market. We had this trend line here in the market, could see a retest of that, but price was far too bearish to push higher on. And as you can see, we are falling to the downside there. So expecting to see EUR/USD fall further to the downside, and potentially all the way back down to, I think, 1.16, like 1.16200, this support area here, the market, where we had this big push to the upside from. It does look like price is eventually working its way back down to that area. So a bit of a long-term target there, but USD is looking very bearish here. GPUSD starting to look bearish as well. We've had a retest of that prior resistance there in the market. We've had a bit of consolidation. Looks like price is actually just closed below that area. So I do think we could see a push to the downside here. Hasn't quite cleared it yet, but again, bias was still to the downside for GPUSD because of the daily time frame. If again jump to the daily, you can see really nice break of the trend line, strong push, having that retrace and looking for that continuation to the downside for GPUSD. So really bearish bias from the daily, and looking to see if the hourly will continue. But break of this consolidation to the downside, really nice drop potentially down to this support here, and at that point we'll probably expect to see lower lows. USD CAD, like I said earlier, I do see another push to the upside. We do have that trend line in the way, so price does need to break through that trend line, but I do see us continuing to the upside back into that resistance there. Again, very strong resistance, so I'm not too sure if we'll break it through it yet. You can see on the daily, very strong support here in the market. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests there. So very strong trend line, very strong resistance there. Get above it, could see the market take off to the upside. However, for now, I'm expecting to see another test of that area because of that trend line there. Price is bouncing really well on. I do think we'll take out this counter trend line and see a push into the resistance up there. USJPY still looking very, very bullish here. Like I said here, for USJPY, I do see us moving into that weekly area resistance there in the market. You can see we are taking out this weekly trend line here from 2016. And I do think this is our next target, which is around 1.200. So that resistance there, which started all of this bearish move here, I think we're going to finally come back and tap into that level and then see a bit of a bearish reaction from there. But USJPY, I do see further continuation to the upside there. So again, not really too interested to sell this one, but again, not interested to buy either, since we are in that push phase. Want price to retrace, give us some bit of a level to buy from, but right now price looks like it is still shooting to the upside, and I do expect further continuation in that direction. Similar to USDCHF, still pushing to the upside. Again, monthly, we do have this area which we are targeting here on the monthly time frame. So this area here where we had that bit of consolidation, breakout to the downside. I think we're going to test that consolidation again and then maybe see the market fall back to the downside. But again, similar to USDJPY, I do expect further continuation. So again, not really looking to sell this one just yet. And as you can see, the market is still very bullish. Again, some other trades I'm in, EURGP short, looking for a move to the downside. Again, simple price breaking and retesting that previous area of support resistance. So clear support there in the market, big push to the upside, consolidation, broke underneath yesterday, retesting as resistance. Looking to see if we can capitalize on a continuation to the downside, back down to 0.84600, sorry, for EURGP. Stop loss just above there. So if you were to take out that area, we'll exit the trade because my setup will be invalid at that point. But right now, looking for the continuation to the downside for EURGP. and gold as well, looking for a move back to the lows. As you can see, we have got a nice close underneath that level, which I was talking about earlier. Strong close below. I do see us continuing in that direction with that close. Might see a bit of a pullback now because we are a bit extended, so cool pull back into the area, hold as resistance, and then see the continuation. But I'm going to be holding for gold back to the lows. I'm not sure if I'll hold for new lows, just because when gold is overextended like that, we could see a sharp move back in another direction. I'm really not too keen on giving back too much to the market there, so I probably might just close it immediately when we get back to the lows here. But I do think over time we could see some new lows for gold, but not interested in holding for that. So looking for a move to the downside for gold. We're going to see how that gets on. Again, live streaming again tomorrow same time, so make sure you're there, and we'll give you guys some updates during that live stream as well. So thanks again for watching today. Hope you all have a great day. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also leave a like on the video if you're feeling generous. But thanks again for watching, and until the next one, I will see you guys later.